We like to say, these are not man caves. There's nothing wrong with a man cave or whatever your concept of a man cave is. But they are really we intentionally targeted the high end of the genre. So, basically if we were building a hotel chain, I wouldn't build a Red Roof Inn, I would build a Ritz-Carlton or a Four Seasons. And we wanted to be the Four Seasons of this genre. So I'm into, guitars, motorcycles, cars. We have a wine bar that in the morning is an espresso bar. So would you like me to show you the model unit?
Sure, let's go.
All right.
Today, we're in Palm Beach County visiting the Hangar. This garage condominium development will be of special interest to anyone with prized collectible assets. What does that mean? We'll let Scott Cunningham, local developer and CEO of the company, explain. Hello, I'm Raquel with Fort Lock, and today we have the great pleasure of sitting here with Scott Cunningham, CEO and founder of The Hangar, and we're currently sitting in his personal hangar. Tell us a little bit about yourself as well as this development.
The Hangar is basically a collection of individual private garages within a gated facility, much like a private club, almost like a country club type of atmosphere, where the owners of the individual units decorate them to their heart's content, display things that are important to them and meaningful. A lot of times that includes vehicles, cars, motorcycles, and art, memorabilia, wine, things like that. So it's a unique environment that basically is a showcase to their valuable possessions.
Amazing. However, did you come up with the name?
I was in a airplane hangar of a friend of mine, and I've always been a bit of a car guy, motorcycle guy, and we had been flying at a local airport here where he has a hangar, and we came back and it was a January in Florida, which is a nice time of year. Afternoon, we were watching the sunset, but in his hangar he had his plane, but he also had some cars, really cool cars, motorcycles, memorabilia, and we were just sitting there, having a drink and watching a game and watching the sunset. And it occurred to me that we were hanging out in a hangar. And I said, how cool is this? I go, there should be something like this for car guys. Because what I liked about it was the fact that you're inside the airport property, so you know that it's not open to the public. If somebody is walking by, there's somebody who's authorized to be there. And so that's what I envisioned, was basically a community of like-minded people who would appreciate the privacy and the security of being located in a purpose-built environment.
Right. And so that beautifully leads me into my next question, which is, since it's a garage condominium development, what exactly does that mean? How does this come together?
It's really, it's interesting trying to come up with the proper descriptive words to describe what this is. We like to say, these are not man caves. There's nothing wrong with a man cave or whatever your concept of a man cave is. But they are really we intentionally targeted the high end of the genre. So, basically if we were building a hotel chain, I wouldn't build a Red Roof Inn, I would build a Ritz-Carlton or a Four Seasons. And we wanted to be the Four Seasons of this genre. So we did we spent a lot of money architecturally on the exterior of the buildings, which I had not seen anybody else do. And my idea was, if you make a really compelling visual statement architecturally and you spend a lot of money, people are going to appreciate that and spend money on the interiors. And our unit, my wife and I decorated this, and basically we wanted it to appeal to not just, men, but to women and to couples and to families. And we've really succeeded in that, because the number of couples that are owners here that are where both of them are excited to be part of the community when we have events is really very gratifying.
All right, Scott. So tell us about how the Hangar works. Like, if a prospective buyer calls, what exactly would you tell them?
Generally, I try to make sure they understand what we are, and it's like joining a community or a club, if you will. make sure that they understand that, we're not just storage of vehicles. We can be, but that's not really what we're aiming to be. We're really aiming to be part of their lifestyle, their social circle, and they're going to meet people that are peers that they would have never otherwise maybe run into. And so I answer any questions they have. I explain whatever it is that they want to know. And then usually we talk about sizes or availability. As you may know, this location is sold out and has been for years. We are just broke ground recently on our new location, which is right at Palm Beach International Airport. We haven't even begun vertical construction and we're already 70% sold.
Wow.
So that's far in excess of what we expected, but we've basically, proven that we are something that people want to be a part of, and that's very gratifying.
What do you think sets us apart from other facilities with similar options?
Really, we just aimed to be the high end of the genre because it's basically, I wanted to build what I would want to be a part of. And I previously had my cars in a typical warehouse, and every time, where there were businesses operating all the time and it wasn't gated or anything else. And every time I would open my door, it would attract unwanted attention because I'd pull a car out to go to the racetrack or something. And people would walk by and go, "What do you got in there?" And which is all fine, but it occurred to me that there was no element of privacy or an expectation of privacy. And that bothered me, but I said, what am I going to do about it? And then it wasn't until I had the inspiration for the hangar that I basically said, that's what it needs to be, a place where it's just, private people with collections of primarily cars and things, where they spend time, as family or socially, or whether we do charitable events or fundraisers or rallies, track days. It's just a very cool place to be a part of.
Amazing. Is there any particular reason this location was chosen specifically?
So, yes, I'm a native of Palm Beach County, Florida. So fortunately, I'm aware of the north end of the county, the south end of the county, and I was looking for a location that would be accessible but not visible. And what that meant to me was, I unlike a typical business that wants to be located on a main thoroughfare or with lots of visibility, we were a destination in my mind, before this was ever built, and that you would come there as long as it was accessible. I didn't want it to be in the middle of nowhere because, I wouldn't want to do that. But it also didn't need to have frontage. So this business park we're in, you could drive right by it. You'd never even notice that it was here. But it's halfway between the breakers on the island of Palm Beach and the racetrack that is now no longer here, Palm Beach International Raceway.
And it's kind of central to those two locations.
Exactly.
And some neighborhoods.
Close to 95, close to, the turnpike. So easy to get to from most areas. And actually, when we sold out, I expected to do a second location in Palm Beach County, but I thought it would be down in, Fort Lauderdale or Miami. Our second location is actually less than 10 miles from here, and it's 5 times the size of this location.
Wow.
So that just tells you the demand. We have not yet met the demand that is in this area.
Incredible. And so, of course, as everyone can imagine, there's a lot of personal collections and all of these different units. What exactly have you done in terms of security? As you mentioned, that's a need. We don't want people to walk by and be able to view everything that's inside. So what exactly have you done?
We, a number of things. We have no glass at street level in the units. Therefore, you don't know what's inside. Unlike, typical warehouses have what they call storefront glass, which is like, the glass where the office might be. But because this was purpose-built, we wanted complete privacy. There are windows, but they're 20 feet in the air, and they're just enough to let light in so that you can tell if it's raining or day or night. We have state-of-the-art security, which is improving all the time, by the way. We have AI technology in our cameras that can tell if somebody actually climbed over the fence to come in, because it recognizes that all of a sudden there's a person there and they came from left to right, whereas the only way they could have done that is to climb over the fence, and then it'll alert our security, 24/7 monitoring. Inside of that, there's cameras everywhere, but then individual units, are generally alarmed, motion detected cameras. We've never had an issue. The facility is gated. It's not open to the public. We do have a concierge who looks after, owners' cars and, basically keeps an eye on the place if cars are picked up to get serviced or dropped off.
Right.
So.
Okay, so that's 24/7 security. Excellent. Now, as far as the owners, are they able to access it anytime?
24/7. Again, same thing. I did not want to, in Florida, there's basically a reality of if you have a, small to medium-sized boat and you live near the water, you probably have to keep it, unless you live on the water, you probably have to keep it in out storage. And which means, you can get your boat, they'll take it out of the shed, they'll put it in the water for you between like 8 and 5. But after 5, they're gone for the day. And I had that happen a couple of times over, our lifetime, where, it was 6 o'clock, we wanted to take the boat out, but they're closed, it's too late. I said, I'm not going to do that where, you can't access it. So, you can come here at 10 o'clock at night. We've had guys, they fly in, they'll Uber here 11 o'clock at night and they go into their unit and they grab a car and they go. And so 24/7 access, yeah.
Amazing. And so are these spaces move-in ready, or are they ready for customization? Do you allow customization?
We absolutely allow customization, and that's part of the fun, because we use the term decorator ready, which means that everything to us, it means that everything that matters is here, but nothing that doesn't matter or that you're going to change is here. So they all have restrooms, but the restrooms are just, basically functional, ready to go. We don't spend the money on tile and elaborate, shower fixtures and things, wallpapers, any special lighting. They're air conditioned. Everything's Miami-Dade, impact rated, and they're basically bank vaults. But we've had, we decorated this one to kind of inspire owners to what they might want to do in their units. And the gratifying thing is that owners have just taken that and run with it. And we've had people spend literally into the 7 figures just on their build out and their customization of the inside of their unit before you put a single car or piece of memorabilia in there.
Wow.
Yeah.
Incredible. Okay, so this location is currently sold out. You're working diligently on the Palm Beach location, which is super exciting. When do you think that's going to open, and when do you plan on opening additional locations?
Great question. Yes, this one is sold out and has been. Resales are very, very few and far between, and they go instantly, basically. Our Palm Beach location is slated to be completed the end of summer of next year, which is 24. And we want to build it as quickly as we possibly can because our owners are eager to, to take possession and customize them and move in. We actually have 4 other locations that were in pre-development stage, which I can't give you specific locations, but I'll tell you cities: Boca Raton, Miami, the Hamptons, and Fort Lauderdale.
Excellent.
So
amazing.
Looking forward to it. Yeah.
Could you give us a little tour of this one?
Absolutely. Love to.
Awesome. Let's go.
Come on. Welcome to the Owner's Lounge.
Thank you. Beautiful.
Yeah. So this is basically the clubhouse, if you will, for our first facility. And it functions as, we have a boardroom here. We have a 150-inch TV where owners come sometimes and watch races on the weekends. We have, lounge areas, and people use it for meetings and Zoom things. We've had real estate closings done here. We've had birthday parties. We have a bar area over here and more seating. I don't know if you saw in the boardroom in here, we have a 1943 Jacobs radial engine, which is...
Oh, isn't that stunning?
Yeah.
Wow.
It's an airplane engine it's an Air Force model from 1943, and we had it restored, and it had all the original things that were, that came with it, including the build plate, which shows you 421-43. So, during the war, and again, it's an Air Force model. I don't know if it flew during the war, but it's a very, very cool piece of art, and we thought it deserved to be kind of showcased here. And kind of the closer you look, the better it gets.
Incredible. And so you designed this with your wife, Christy, is that right?
That's correct. She's very talented and has great taste, and because this was the first one, we didn't want to go crazy. We wanted to make sure that we had really nice pieces. We did partner with Roche Bobois on our furniture, because we liked the fact that it all looked sort of aviation-y and or automotive-y, and they were very, great to work with. But
great blend.
Yeah,
Great blend.
It works very nicely. And
I can come in here, say I were an owner,
24/7.
which I plan to be, by the way, someday.
Absolutely, 24/7.
Okay.
Like these chairs are reminiscent of the sports car seats from like the 60s, 50s and 60s with the diamond quilt, and they're just, that was
beautiful.
Part of what attracted us to working with them. But
I love it.
And
you mentioned your Palm Beach, sorry to interrupt.
Yeah.
Your Palm Beach location has an even bigger lounge?
So because this was size appropriate and amenity appropriate for what we were doing, but our owners have told us that they want more, fun things to do and more space to do it in. So because the facility there is, several times larger than this, we have golf simulators, driving simulators, bar areas, of course, a theater, billiard room, ping pong, a boardroom. We're going to have a rooftop sunset deck, we're calling it, because it's overlooking the airport. So you're watching the jets take off, but it also sort of faces southwest. So it'll capture some really cool sunsets. And we've got a Bell helicopter that we're going to have on the roof as a piece of art. But it's a real helicopter. But in the future, maybe it'll turn into a helipad. We'll see.
It's going to be such a hit. When's the grand opening?
The end of next summer is our expected completion.
I can't wait.
Yeah, neither can I.
Oh, and you mentioned something a little earlier about this piece. This is absolutely incredible up here.
Yeah,
is that a Cobra?
That's a Cobra. And the idea behind a Cobra was, if you know anything about car guys, a lot of times it's like college football. They're like, they either like Ford or they Ferrari or Lamborghini or Porsche. And the thing I felt was that nobody has a problem with Cobra, because Cobras just stand on its own. And I found a panel beater, which is the guys that literally used to hand make panels with a rubber mallet on a wooden buck out in Wisconsin. And I told him I needed a half a Cobra, and he thought I was crazy. Why do you need a half a Cobra? So I explained it to him. He thought it was a great idea. And he asked me, do you want me to get rid of the weld marks and the joints and the grinder marks? I said, no, I want people to see that it's different pieces of metal that you basically created into that shape. And so it's kind of a little secret thing that people don't even notice sometimes when they come here.
Such a great added piece. And over here, I love this wallpaper on the wall.
Yeah, we had, everything, we put a lot of thought into everything. We were decorating it, and we said, what do you do with a 20 by 40 foot wall? And I said, well, we're called the Hangar, so let's see if we can find a cool hangar picture. So this was out in Tonopah, Nevada, which I understand is part of Area 51. And this hangar is no longer standing, but we found a decent picture, and we worked with a company out of Pompano who does photo murals, and they do it on a cotton twill, so it doesn't reflect light. I don't know if you can tell that, but they can basically digitize it so that when you're, it doesn't reflect as if it was paper or anything else. Yeah. It basically doesn't reflect the light, so it looks much more believable. And we just like the way that it worked, how it went up into the trusses, and then the trusses in the ceiling ended up going into ours, and it kind of looks like it made sense. So it worked well.
Yeah. Beautiful, beautiful place. Great space.
So would you like me to show you the model unit?
Sure, let's go.
All right. Come on in.
Thank you. Wow, look at this.
So this is our unit, which is the model. Basically, we decorated this to appeal to kind of everybody that was a potential buyer, and showed them ideas for the way they may want to decorate it with their own personal twist on things. But as you can see, I'm into, guitars, motorcycles, cars. We have a wine bar that in the morning is an espresso bar, but after 5 it becomes a wine bar.
Yeah.
And
I can't help but ask about this car.
Sure.
It's a Ferrari.
It's a 430 Spider. It happens to have a gated shifter, which is a very rare option. And and I have the same problem that most of our owners have, which is that we call them car problems, which is you have more cars than you have places to put them, which is why I'm building our second location.
Well, beautiful. Let's go into the kitchen. That's just gorgeous in there. Is this where I'd have a fabulous glass of wine?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And this has become, my wife and I talked about when we were coming up with the idea of what this space. It's 1,133 square feet, so it's not huge, but we thought it was important to have a social space, which is why we did this instead of, I could have put 2 more cars here, right? But this has been the most popular thing that we've done, and a lot of owners have done the same thing. Some of them have built bars upstairs as well. But when we have, groups of friends over, ultimately the girls will end up going upstairs and listening to music or watching something, and the guys are down here talking, having a glass of wine and talking about cars or whatever. And it just, it's a very natural feeling social space that, it's different though, because it's not your house. It's not the restaurant. It's not the country club. It's a unique setting.
Very unique. And what is like the most fun experience you've had in one of these hangars? Just in general, to tell us with who. I'm sure celebrities are here.
No, but you know what? We had, this was, I told you earlier, this is the funnest thing I've ever done. But we had an owner and his wife whose kids went to a small private school, and they were fundraising. The school every year had a fundraiser, and they notoriously, had a hard time getting the dads to come. And they would raise a little bit of money, but it was this very small school. So they asked me, can we have it here? And I said, you're an owner, of course you can have an event here. So they invited the parents of the school. Virtually all the husbands came. They raised more money than they had ever raised. And the party was supposed to go from like 7 to 10. At midnight, the caterers and the bartenders came and said, we have to go. We can't stay any later. And so we shut the party because everybody was having such a good time. And it was just an authentic good time. And we knew that they had raised a lot of money, which was great. We didn't leave here. The party kind of moved over to our unit here. We didn't leave here until almost 2 in the morning. And I do not stay out until 2 in the morning at my age. So anyway, that was one of the fun memories because it's one of those parties that nobody wanted to leave. And that happens a lot here.
Right. I love that you're friends with so many of your condo owners.
Yeah. Very natural, very, very cool group of owners that we have.